Hi, I'm Roland. In this video I will explain how I built a compound slide for my DIY lathe. My current lathe design has a fixed tool post on the cross slide. It works well and is quite rigid, but for turning tapers a compound slide is needed. After watching many YouTube videos I came up with the following design. The compound slide is fixed to the cross slide via a tapered disc that is bolted to the cross slide plate. The bottom half of the compound slide fits over this disc. 3 set screws, spaced in 120 degrees, push brass shafts into the tapered section of the disc, thereby pulling down and securing the compound slide to the cross slide. Loosening the set screws lets you rotate the compound slide. A brass anti-backlash nut is mounted on the compound slide bottom half, and an M10 threaded rod serves as the compound slide spindle. By tightening these bolts, the backlash can be minimized. A 28 mm bearing is fixed to the spindle with brass bushings. The bearing fits in the front plate, which is bolted to the compound slide moving part. There is space for a brass gib between the dovetail sections of the top and bottom. 5 set screws with steel balls can adjust the gib to minimize the play between the bottom and top half. The spindle knob has 15 major divisions, and with an M10 spindle, one division equals 0.1 mm. A 12 mm threaded rod holds the tool post, which can clamp 12 mm cutting tools with spacers to set the correct tool height. Finally, a pointer is mounted to the cross slide, and a 360 degrees plate is fixed to the compound slide bottom to be able to set accurate compound slide angles. For the build I used some 30 mm thick chunks of anodized aluminium, 45 mm aluminium round stock, a 50 mm brass rod, a chunk of brass and an M10 threaded rod. First we need to make the 40 mm hole for the rotation disc. Here I screw a holding jig to the aluminium bottom piece and use a sideways mounted motor on the cross slide to mill the hole and finalizing with a boring tool. Here I'm drilling and tapping the holes for the set screws and the brass shaft. The shafts are cut to 5 mm diameter on the lathe. I use my DIY slow grinder to shape the ends to fit the rotation disc taper. The rotation disc is cut to 40 mm diameter. Then I use the milling tool to cut the taper. Let's try and fit it all together. First insert the 5 mm brass shafts. The set screws. And then fit the rotation disc. With the set screws loose, the disc can rotate freely. But after fastening the set screws, the disc is grabbed firmly. Let's check it on the cross slide. The bottom piece easily slides on the rotation disc. And after tightening the set screws, it sits very firm. Now it's time to cut the dovetails. First, I remove most of the material using my circle saw with a special metal cutting blade and lots of WD-40. I bought this 60 degrees dovetail cutter from AliExpress. With light cuts in aluminium it works quite well. Here is the finished bottom dovetail section. The top section dovetail is done in a similar way. First remove the bulk material using my circle saw. And then cutting the dovetail with the same 60 degrees bit, again using light cuts. The brass gib is cut from a 2 mm brass sheet. It needs to have angled top and bottom, so I used the dovetail top section and some 60 degrees jigs and shims to hold it in the correct angle, and milled the top and bottom. Here is the result. Aluminium dovetail surfaces don't slide well onto each other. Therefore, I added thin 0.1 mm shim steel strips between the dovetail mating faces. I first cut a bigger strip with scissors, and then, using a marking caliper, I scored the sheet several times to get the narrow but flat strips. These strips are then glued with Loctite 480 onto the dovetail mating surfaces, using a 60 degrees wooden jig to press them firmly and evenly to the surface. Here I drill and tap the holes for the 5 gib adjustment set screws. The screws press against steel 4 mm roller bearing balls, so I used a round mill bit to cut some round pockets in the gib to seat the steel balls. Now we can check the assembly. Add the steel balls, mount the gib, and then check that the bottom and top piece can move smoothly with minimal play after adjusting the 5 set screws. Next I cut the brass block for the anti-backlash nut on my circle saw. Then drill and tap the hole for the M10 spindle. After drilling the other holes as well, the piece can be cut to form the 2 sections of the anti-backlash nut, and screw one end to the bottom section. Now we have to cut the clearing slot for the anti-backlash nut in the top half section. To make the 20 mm hole for the bearing in the front plate, I mounted the front plate on a lathe jig and used the mill attachment on the cross slide to cut the hole. The end result is a nice fit for the bearing flush to the front surface. The bearing has 12 mm inner diameter, so 2 bushings with M10 inner thread and a 12 mm outer diameter clamp the bearing to the M10 spindle. Now we can mount the front plate to the top section, secure the bearing with 2 screws, and check the assembly for smooth movement when rotating the spindle. The bottom section needs to have a cutout section to clear the cross-slide caliper and cross-slide front plate. Again, I use my circle saw to remove most of the material and then the mill for the final dimensions. Let's check all the clearances during the compound slide rotation and movement. It fits well. Now for the spindle knob, some more lathe work, and cut and tap the hole for the set screw that fixes the knob to the spindle. For making accurate division marks, I used my digital divider tool. I set the divider to 30 divisions and use a pointy milling bit to cut the division marks. The result is quite good. Now the tool post height needs to be set. First I make sure the original tool post setup has the correct cutting bit height. For the compound slide, I will use the upper half of the original tool post, which can be split quite easily. Now we can mount the compound slide and check the tool height with this new setup. Obviously it's too high. Using a marker pen, I can scratch a line on the parting tool blade and then measure the height difference. I need to remove around 7 mm from the compound slide top. So here we go again with the circle saw, and then do the final dimension on the mill and finishing the surface with a fly cutter. Then drill and tap the hole for the new tool post and finishing the tapping on the bench. Let's check how it fits. It looks good. Now check the cutting tool height. Yes, that looks pretty good too. Finally, we need to make the 360 degrees round disc for setting the compound angle. I cut it from 3 mm red anodized aluminium plate. For this I also made a jig to hold it in the lathe and the digital divider head. After mounting the jig, the disc can be cut on the lathe. To make the 360 degree markings, I mounted the digital divider gear motor vertically on my workbench. Then fix the disc and mount a reference plate to scribe against. The digital divider is set to 360 degree segments. I start at 0 with a long scribe mark, using a steel needle to scratch the anodized surface. Then some short scribe marks, a 5 degree longer scribe mark, and an even longer scribe mark every 10 degrees. Here is the start result. It looks quite good. After 360 scribe marks, the angle plate is finished. The disc needs to fit into the square bottom of the compound slide. First, cutting with a jigsaw and finishing with the mill for accurate dimensions. Let's check the final fit. The disc snaps right in place. Now the pointer. It was milled out of a thick aluminium plate. Then it is mounted to the cross-slide plate. Here is the final result. The angle setting can be read quite clearly. But is the angle accurate? To check this, I set the compound angle to 45 degrees and fasten the set screws. A piece of 30 mm aluminium round stock serves as the test piece. The taper cutting goes quite well. The compound slide can be moved easily with a small handle on the spindle wheel. Now let's see if the taper is accurate. It should be 90 degrees. It's close, but after checking with the protractor, the taper angle seems about 1 degree too large. To correct this, I filed some slots in the pointer mounting holes to be able to adjust its position. Now, with the adjusted pointer mounting, I adjusted the compound angle to 45 degrees again, and then make another cut. This time, the taper angle is spot on, 90 degrees. I hope you liked this video. I've placed the CAD files that I used in this video on my website. Please see the link in the description below for more information. If you found this video interesting, you may want to check out the other videos of my DIY lathe, the mill and the digital divider. Thanks for watching.